There we go. What about now? Cool. Hello, my treasured rose. All right. I love you art content too, Dusty. I'm kidding. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay. Yeah, I just took a nap, and I'm like I'm not awake yet, but I'm gonna try to get awake. Is this the pouch? Yes, this is the pouch. So but yeah, welcome everyone. So all right, I don't need this box. I'm finally figuring out restream, and I don't need a million windows anymore to monitor everything. Yay! So I can see counts and chat and all this stuff. Awesome. Because of you, I can draw without pain again. What did I do? Cool. Twitch is working. Someone is confirming. Awesome. It should be on Twitch. I'm gonna wait about 2 more minutes and then I'll do an actual intro and all that stuff. So I don't know, you guys that follow me on like Facebook and Twitter, I posted a couple weeks ago. I posted a couple weeks ago that I had put up the eggshell crating. What is it called? Eggshell egg crate audio stuff. Whatever. It's supposed to cut down on the reverberations and echo and stuff in the room. And nice. And it was awesome for the day that it was on the wall, and then it all fell off the wall. So I apparently should not have trusted the 3M strips to stick to the foam, which was probably not a smart move. But I woke up the next morning, like 8 of the 10 were on the like acoustic soundproofing. Yes, thank you. I just could not come up with that word, that phrase. And so I've got cardboard now. Apparently, what you do is you take the cardboard and you like 3M spray adhesive the stuff to the cardboard, and then you use the cardboard to 3M strip it to the wall. But I wasn't smart enough to figure it out the first time. So awesome. Thank you. People are learning things on YouTube. Good. All right. So I think it's good. We've waited long enough. So this is the pouch, which was ironically, I believe, or satirically, I never know the word there, created by the great Rob Liefeld. If you're younger than I am, you don't know who he is or what he does. He created a lot of characters in the 90s, and in the 90s, everybody had pouches, okay? Deadpool, you see Deadpool's kind of a carryover. Pouches on the shoulder thing, pouches on the belt, pouches on the legs. So as a joke, he created the pouch. And that's what we're seeing here. This is the pouch. This was drawn by Donal DeLay. Honestly, I think it's better than his original pouch sketch drawing. And so that's the joke. And I thought this needs to be like colored awesomely, or attempt to color it awesomely anyway. And we'll see. So awesome. Hello to Dusty Gremlin, the Art Off. I don't know how you say that. Flavored Genuine, 2/3. I love these names. Tim Adams. Before someone asks me what version of Photoshop this is Procreate for iPad. Alright, so everything right now is just sort of local colors, sort of ish. And so what I'm going to try to do in this stream is at least get the majority of it done. I don't know if I'll get it all done today, but I hope to. And yeah, and we'll see. The challenge with this is going to be, so he's made of pouches. Other than that part, I think it's funnier if they're all close to the same color. Like, I mean, anybody that was smart would say, okay, you know, the gun's a dark brown patch or pouch and everything else is dead, and the shoulder pads are different color. I think it's funnier if it's all really close to the same color. I'm pretty confident about that. So the challenge is going to be, you know, getting him holding the gun and all that stuff to like read, with them all being very close to the same color. I'm thinking about darkening the gun a little bit, but other than that, that's the goal. Altarf. There we go. Sorry. Okay. Alright, so if you're new to one of these streams, feel free to ask questions, and I'll try to keep one eye on that also. And yeah. Where to begin with this dude? Okay, so I had the flatter separate, if I can choose the right thing, I had the flatter separate the gun, or I thought the gun, from everything else. Almost everything else. So maybe we just darken this a little bit, just so we have something to work with here. I don't want it to be like dramatically different, but just like slightly different. And we'll also make his pouch swords. We'll make them that same color, I think. This might be like one of my favorite things that I've colored, and I haven't even done it yet. I kind of like the green shift. I don't know. Yeah, I think like, yeah, we're not gonna do all this stuff absolutely different, but and if I could get on the right layer. There's a pretty big difference in what I'm seeing on, not a big difference, but there's a difference in what I'm seeing on my screen and on the iPad. It's a little bit more saturated on my desktop, so, but I think that's what you guys are seeing too, so I guess that works out. Yeah. Yes, the feet are hidden. Yeah, they're hidden. I I saw Donal Delay actually drew this, and I saw him comment somewhere that he was happy that someone recognized that about the feet. Do you ever color over line art? Yes. Anytime there's a glow or usually something glowing on top of the line art. I don't have a great way of changing the color of the line art in Procreate yet. The only thing that I found, and it might work on this because this is pretty clean. Let's experiment real quick. So I'm gonna end up. I want to change the color of the moon. Let's say. So I'm gonna just select part of that, and we're going to make a new layer, and we're going to set this to reference. It works, but it does that Procreate thing where you can't get it all at one time. This I usually do in Photoshop, so we'll have to hold off on that. That's one thing that I've found about Procreate that I'm not a fan of. I think I'm gonna fix that real quick because I think I wanna. I'm gonna send this to Photoshop briefly, and I will pull it right back in. So bear with me. Okay, that's gonna go away for a second. Okay, good. I don't know if there's anything in the folder you guys aren't supposed to see yet, so I had to hide it. Do you ever use Photoshop gradient maps when you color? I've used them before. Sometimes if I'm really struggling with like how I want something, like if I don't know where to start, with like a color palette, or I don't really have a strong idea. Sometimes I do it more with like more paintings than comic stuff, but I'll just create a gradient map and get some colors going with it just to get something down. And see, this is my gripe with. Wait, that didn't work. Let's see. Maybe these are already on their own layer. Bear with me a moment here. No. Okay, maybe I'm not doing that in Photoshop. Weird. Okay. Okay, did it move? It always moves. There we go. But yeah, sometimes I'll just color with a mask and or color with a gradient map. Just put some colors down to get started. But I don't use them very much. Can you do a clip? No, there's no clipping mask in Procreate. There are layer masks, but not what you call it, clipping mask. Yeah, if you just joined us, I woke up from a nap not too long before the stream started, so uh, like, yeah, I'm not really awake yet. And these highlight colors might change, but for now, I'm gonna go with this like orangey thing that I've got going on. How's your shoulder been? Shoulder's about the same. Good days, bad days. Um, it's it comes and goes. I'm most limited like in the gym that I in like when I'm drawing. I have to be drawing or mousing for a very long time before it really starts bothering me. But because I spend so much time sitting down at a desk, like I need to be able to do exercises to like offset all of that stuff, and it probably doesn't even offset it. But anyway, I'm just not able to do much of anything. So all right, so light source is just kind of from the top. It looks like nothing too crazy. So so yeah, we'll just get started here. And and again, I don't know if this will be the colors that I will that will survive till the end of this piece. Sometimes that's one of the good things about working on a mask like this is because I could get like halfway through with the rendering and decide, oh yeah, I wish this was more yellow, or I wish this was, you know, a different color, and then I'll just make it a different color. And so that's the goal anyway. And usually someone asks about brushes. This is the default flat marker, I think, that comes with Procreate. Or just the I mean, it comes with it. It's one of the included brushes, I believe. But thanks for asking, by the way, about the shoulder. Appreciate it. Oh, and I think I posted it on Twitter. I don't know if I really haven't had time to make another video yet. But thanks to everyone that bought one of the courses on sale because of that the surgery is covered. Got it made enough to cover that. So that was awesome. So many pouches. Just trying to. This is, yeah. This is definitely like this is all new experience here. I don't know that I've ever I don't know that I've ever colored something quite like this. So now the one thing I am thinking about even at this stage is like, you know, how am I going to get you to we're going to have more highlights at the top because he's lit from the top. Less detail in the other places, because if I colored every single pouch like the exact same way with like, oh, the lights on the top and the shadows on the bottom, like all of them, it wouldn't look realistic, because these under the pad, the shoulder pad, aren't going to be lit up as much. The ones under here aren't going to catch any light at all. I'll probably cheat a little bit and put some more like on his hand. So you got to think in terms of not just, okay, I'm going to brainlessly fill in light everywhere. Think in terms of, even with something as silly as the pouch here, you still want to think about your storytelling and what you're trying to accomplish here. And if you just joined, like I said earlier, welcome. This is sort of an in-joke kind of satirical send-up of Rob Liefeld's The Pouch character, which I guess he recently created, since he's known for his characters with pouches. I actually did a Rob Liefeld commission one time. There was, he didn't commission me, but someone that had commissioned him commissioned me to color Deadpool and Taskmaster. It's on the channel somewhere, probably a couple years ago. Yeah, this character is just it's just a gag at this point, but believe me, I will be the last person that will be shocked if you see a Kickstarter or or Indiegogo or something about this guy, because it's just weird enough for the internet to like latch onto it like that. So we'll see how that goes. But no, at this point, it's just a goofy thing, and that's about it. But who knows? Give it some time. We will run it into the ground. Getting random. I have a problem sometimes with Procreate like randomly not undoing, which is weird. Doesn't happen very often, but I think I want to like totally just over paint the hell out of this. And I don't know if you can have like a satirical rendering style, but I just think it would be hilarious if it was just like ultra realistic when I was done with it. As realistic as the lighting can be on this thing, anyway. And I'll do another round of like brighter highlights when we get along later. For right now, I'm just kind of making one pass like this, and then we'll come back later over the top with more rendering. If you just joined us, yeah, this is The Pouch by Rob Liefeld. Created by Rob Liefeld. Drawn by Donal. I mean, I love the fact, though, that people are coming in here and they're just like, what? What is this? Yeah, you probably if you probably shouldn't know who this is. If you do, then you're you're just a huge comics nerd. But I can't talk because I'm one of them. I'm doing a little bit more contrast down here because I sort of want you to see this hand so it doesn't get lost. So I'm going to end up going over this with some more highlights and stuff. But I'm probably going to go and change the rendering on the swords too. I'm not too crazy about that color on that. But let's see. And if I want to tone down like these rendering colors, I can just, since I'm on a mask, I can just paint with black and that'll tone this down some. Glad you guys are digging it. You'll notice too that I'm not getting like super close to this. I think it's I see a lot of like beginner colorists that like they color like this and they wonder why it takes like 1,000 years to do a page. I mean, this is just for fun. I mean, obviously it's probably never going to see print or anything like that. So, but even if it was, like, you don't have to like get all up in that business there like that. Because you got to think how people are going to view this. You know, it's not really going to get much bigger than, you know, that probably. Even if they get digital and blow it up, you know, it's still not going to be like. They don't need to like get in here with this and like start trying to make it make sense. But I've been dabbling in some other apps. Clip Studio, obviously, like it seems to be the fan favorite on iPad these days. I've been playing around with that some. And Art Studio Pro, I think, it just came out. It's a pretty cool like drawing painting app. Like it's kind of amazing how I feel like in the space of like a couple of years, we went from. I mean, Clip's been around a while, like Manga Studio or whatever it was called before. Like people have been a fan of that for a while. It's been a really good app. But I just feel like over the last like 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden it's like instead of Photoshop and then maybe Clip and there wasn't anything else, there's like a jillion apps, and they're all pretty good. So I think it's a good thing. Competition is good. Wacom needed it especially. And as I'm getting like further away and to less important areas, like you know, I can sort of do a little bit less. You know, I don't want to do any crazy high contrast stuff down here because that will. I'm not trying to draw attention down here. So always think about that. I think that's one of the things. I know I have a lot of beginner learner colorists on here too, probably. So I try to throw in a pro tip every now and then. But I think what happens with a lot of beginner colorists is they come out with they see how much time they spend on like somebody's face, and they think they have to spend that much time on like the building that's a mile away, and so a lot of becoming fast and that kind of thing is being smart about where you're rendering and where you're putting focus on things, and so that you're not spending the same amount of time on every little part of the image. He has a pouch clip does he shoot pouches? I think he does. I'm gonna say he shoots pouches. I mean, because obviously we've got the clip of pouches, and inside there's probably another pouch. I mean, because what else is there? I decided to do the foreground first because you guys get bored with the background pretty quick. And there's not much background to do here, so. Alright, let's see. Let's make another. Oh, all this has been done on a mask, by the way. It's not really on a layer. There's only one layer here filled with one color, and then I'm painting on the mask itself. I don't know if I can just show you that. There's no way to zoom it up or look at it like there is in Photoshop, but all this is happening on a mask. And the reason for that is I can go over here if I wanted to and be like, oh, I wish all this was green or yellow or blue or something, I don't have to change anything. And so yeah, I kind of like that very, very subtle shift to green there. And but yeah, you can make as many of these as you want, basically. As many as Procreate will allow you to. Whoops. I'll carry the fight for justice. Put your justice in the pouch, and I'll carry it. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. People are learning stuff. Yay! Mission accomplished. That was not a political joke, by the way. All right, so now we're gonna do like another little round of highlights here, and these are gonna be a little bit more strategically placed. So they're not gonna be like everywhere. Oh, something else that I started playing around with more in with this is doing like a little bit more smudging. Sometimes I'll get a smudge tool and smudge a little bit. I never really did that much in Photoshop. I don't know, I just never really made a habit of it. And so this is really just going to focus on like his shoulders and just little areas that are maybe catching a little bit of light here. And again, we're creating more contrast, but since he's the same color almost everywhere, we can actually kind of draw attention to those areas. And if you can figure that part out early, you're ahead of the curve. Because a lot of beginner colorists just think, well, you just stay in the lines, right? Like I did when I first started. Some of you guys that watch my channel a lot, you're like, God, talk about something else other than focus and storytelling. But it's like the most important thing. So I will not stop talking about it. That's not my usual smudger. There we go. One thing that I changed, I don't know if it helps very much, but I turned on, there's a setting in Procreate to show the brush cursor, and I've turned that on, and I'm hoping that it helps you guys actually see what's going on a little bit better. Because I did have, that's one of the complaints some people had about some of the iPad videos, is that it was hard to tell like what I was doing. So I try to zoom up enough to where you guys can kind of tell, but it's I turned on the brush cursor, so maybe like does it show up? Yeah, it kind of shows up a little bit. It's not quite as obvious as it is in Photoshop, but it's better than nothing at all. The one question we've failed to ask: what is in those pouches? What's in those pouches? You don't want to know, probably. I think this is turning out pretty good, right? Like it's totally a crazy idea, but I like it. Yeah, this was one of those that it has nothing to do with the line art. It's just like it's so unique that it was like, what do I do? What do I do with this thing? So I'm glad I found something that seems to be working. I want to do it like really cheese it up. I don't know if I'll probably do that in Photoshop with like I mean, I gotta have a lens flare in here somewhere somehow. I don't even know how, but somehow. With like a lot of fog like behind him. I just want to 90s it up. Yeah, the 90s when some of you guys probably weren't born yet. One thing I have noticed over the last couple of months, actually, I guess over the last 2 years or so, is I was thinking about demographics when I said that, and on uh, uh, YouTube Analytics, you can see like what percentage of your viewers are male and female and age groups and all sorts of stuff. And when I first started doing this back in 2013, geez, 5 years ago? Yeah, like this summer will be like the 5 year anniversary of the first video I think ever uploaded. And it was like 90% men or 89% men and 11% women. And now it's like 18% last time I looked at it. I think that and I'm not making any sort of like statement here, but I think that since I've started doing a few more Procreate videos and a few more like just general art stuff, I've had more ladies watching. So there you go. They were probably the smart ones that were like, yeah, we've been on this iPad stuff for a while. You got to get with the program. Photoshop, it's old school, man. Okay. PC Master Race. Yeah, I built my PC. I don't know if that means I'm in the PC Master Race or not, but all right. So I feel like I need some more separation between like under his shoulders. Like I'm saying this like you and pointing at my screen, like you guys can tell what I'm talking about. Um, but like all this stuff under here, I want to darken a little bit, and then probably some of this and down here. So let's see. So a good rule of thumb, this is a pretty common rule of thumb, is warm highlights, cool shadows, and these highlights like really don't make a lot of sense with the moon behind them, but I don't care. So yeah, it's a pretty good rule if your highlights are warm to go cool shadows, and most of the time it'll come out looking cool. It's not necessarily realistic all the time. I've heard people say, oh yeah, well, in real life it's shadows are cool and highlights are warm and vice versa, but it's not always the case. Like, it just happens to be that way on Earth because the sky is blue. So like if you have like warm sunlight, which is not that warm actually, but let's say you have a warm light source like the sun, all the reflected light is coming usually from everywhere else, which if the sky is blue, it means that the shadows are going to be cooler. So if we were on Mars, that wouldn't really be the case because there's no blue sky. The shadows would be warm also. So as a general rule anyway. But cool highlights yeah, warm highlights, cool shadows does look cool most of the time. So let's see here. So I'm keeping this pretty low opacity because I want to be able to like build it up. So like the brush is, it's like 50% or something. See how, whoops. That's pretty subtle, but it adds a lot. What about the highlight on the frozen stuff? Shouldn't it be a cool highlight? I see what you mean. What about the highlight on like? I don't quite follow that question. Try one more time. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, the texture absolutely makes a difference. Pouches, I'm assuming made of like leather, aren't really reflective. You know what I mean? So, they're not gonna. It's not super reflective the way that something like water or ice or something would be. Um, but it depends on the surface. Most most like water and things like that are gonna they're gonna take on the color of whatever the environment is like overall. Um, it's like the whites of eyes. Like next time you're watching a movie, um, and it's like a darkest a scene or something, and or there's a really strong like environmental color kind of everywhere. Look at the colors of eyes because the whites of eyes, the sclera, I believe the term is, um, they actually kind of absorb the overall color of the background. So that's one of my pet peeves with comics. Sometimes the whites will be like super white, and they're in an environment where they wouldn't be, and it really kind of looks weird. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, oh yeah, the frozen stuff. Yeah, it depends. I mean, I'm kind of speaking in generalities here a little bit, so. I'm not going to put highlights on like all of these little buttons, but I'm just hitting a few of them. It feels a little dark to me overall, but I can fix that later. I think I'm about ready to go into Photoshop here and mess around with it some. Let's see. We can at least put some highlights on the background. I might just fix this in Photoshop, because I want to get this moon fixed, and I don't really know. My usual method for doing color holds wasn't working in Photoshop either, so I don't know. Alright, you guys are going to lose picture here for a second while I... Oh, no you're not. Let's see. Yeah. No. I'm capturing this on my desktop, so Photoshop's running right behind it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this for just a second here. So I can get this transferred over. I'm just transferring this to Photoshop. Should be just a second. I've got a monitor that's a lot bigger than 1080p, so I open up at Photoshop like in the middle of it. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I think I've got everything back the way I had it. Yeah, it's a little duller than I wanted, so let's see. The thing is, like, after using some of the same monitors for a long time, like, I know exactly how I want them to look. So sometimes if my iPad brightness or something is off, then it it always, sometimes it'll look a little off. So I want to pump up the vibrance a little bit. And let's see. My usual color hold action doesn't work on this for some reason. Bear with me here. I can never remember how to do this, like, manually. Alpha 2 invert. Like, I usually have just like a Photoshop thing that just works. I think this should work. So if I color with this now, it should just be the lines. Yep. Okay. Do you prefer iPad Pro or whatever over Photoshop? If so, why? I have only ever used Photoshop. There's a much better explanation that I can give you in this, probably here, in a video I did a while back. I can't think which video that is. Actually, it wasn't much about Procreate, but I like rendering in Procreate more. It just seems smoother to me, and it feels very, very natural. And with and I still use Photoshop obviously for a lot of stuff, but it also lets me get away from my desk. So like, I'm gonna have to set up and do a video in there to show you guys, because I've had a couple of people be like, I want to see your setup, you know. And why is this? Okay, I think Photoshop just froze. Probably because I was talking about Procreate. Okay. Yeah, Photoshop just straight up went meh, and it's not doing anything. Okay, so we kill the Photoshop. It never does that. It's because you guys are watching. But But yeah, if you've just joined, feel free to ask questions in the comments or the chat box, whatever it's called. Alright, let's try that again. No, not that way. Nope, not that one. There we go. Okay, so where was I? Brightening this thing. Oh yeah, and I gotta redo all this. Okay, so I don't know why the action isn't working for this, but I'm gonna copy. Let's see, do I still have that channel? No. So I'm going to copy the inks to a channel and then copy the channel and then make a new layer and load the selection from the channel and invert it. Did you guys catch all that? You'll have to watch the replay. Basically, I copied all of the ink layer, all of the inks to a channel in Photoshop and then loaded a selection based on that channel. That's really all it was. And then lock the transparency, and I should be able to paint with white on the inks. Yay, okay. Not to bring any gossip into the chat, but do you have a least favorite artist? I'm not answering that, I'm sorry. Yeah. What type of texture do you think is most challenging? That's a good question. Challenging textures. I think that's a tough one. I mean, like realistic, like chrome type stuff is like, I mean, it's easy to do it, like you can fake it, you know, pretty easily and it'll look okay. But as far as like really realistic shiny things, are pretty challenging. Like I said, it's pretty easy to fake it. Photoshop is not going to freeze in the same spot again, doing the same thing again. What the hell, man? Okay, wait, it just came back. What's going on? Photoshop needs to calm down. I've got a lot of this to do real quick. So I'm basically just selecting the moon, the inks for the moon, because back a long time ago in the 90s, which was 30 years ago now almost, this is how they drew the moon. Lots of craters. If you haven't noticed, this whole thing is like a love letter to like 1993 comics. And Photoshop does not like me using a lasso right now. Is this file like massive or something? And I just didn't notice it. Okay. If you've just joined us, we are Photoshop got mad, we think, because I was using Procreate, and now every time I go to lasso something, it freaks out. Okay, maybe if we... I really don't want to load all this up again. Okay, there it goes. Jeez. Alright, there's like one more section. Let's let me finish this section. I mean, I can't lasso anything right now. I gotta check, I gotta save this right now before I have to crash this out again. Okay. Saving. Let's do something different. Let's just fill this. Okay, so maybe the lasso is haunted or something right now, so the brush seems to work. So I'm covering everything that I want to change the line color of with this white. It doesn't really matter what color you use for this. This will all make sense in a second. Promise. I know you guys are going, what are you doing? Screwing it up. Okay. So now I can select the white, get rid of it, move it way down there, and change the color of the lines based on that selection. I kind of like the moon being, the shadows being the same color as the sky, because that would kind of happen that way. I want to cool the moon off so he pops off a little bit more. Since the moon was actually pretty warm, and I didn't really want that. So you cool the moon off and bam, he sticks out more. And this is so ludicrous. I love it. So I want to, like, let's see. Been avoiding the chat. Sorry. I use Photoshop exclusively. I'm still learning how to use it, largely by watching this guy work. Yep. Thank you. Switch the windows when it freezes. Yeah, that's actually what I just did, like, accidentally, and it worked. Yeah, I still use Photoshop a lot, but I'm also cheating on it with other stuff. So this creature is a bunch of gear come to life. He looks like Deadpool's utility belt came to life. Yeah, you called it. He was created by the same guy. It was originally created just as a joke, you know. And then, you know, we took it too far. But yeah, I think Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, and this guy, like, he did a sketch, and then somebody else did a sketch, and here we are. So I want to put, like, some fog around him. And, or behind him, mostly behind him probably, and then probably that back leg. I'm trying to think of the best way to do that without having to select every little thing, but I don't think there's a faster way to do that. So I'm not going to use a lasso. I normally would, but the lasso is goofing up right now. So this is just a new layer, and I'm going to paint around him. And the reason I can't use a selection is because it's going to be on top of the lines. I guess I could use a selection and kind of fake it, but let's use a selection and fake it. That'll be faster. Okay, so we're going to select this guy and the sky and the moon. And this like back leg, like we're gonna, and I know you're thinking, why? What are we doing? Why the back leg? Because it's like we're gonna create some very cheaty atmospheric perspective. This is like this happen. You see this a lot with like digital painters and stuff. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Because even if you have something that's like a little bit further away, like his leg from his other leg, if you can put a little bit of fog type stuff in between, it'll actually make it seem like it's further away. And we'll do all this on top. And I don't know what color yet. So I'm just going to pick one. This is my cheaty dust brush that I got from... who did I get this from? I got this from Noah Bradley, I think. And let's see. Do I want warm or cool? I think I like whatever that is. But you see how it creates some space around his foot there? And we could even like sort of do that on this leg too, at the bottom a little bit. I'm gonna have to like blend this stuff. This brush is like super random. Like I just have to keep trying stuff sometimes until it does what I want it to do. And I have not used any of these blending brushes in a while. That's not what I wanted. Wow, that brush is super memory intensive. Okay. Wow, it's still going. I made like one stroke and it's still rendering. Wow. Okay. Just delete tool preset. There we go. Never using that again. Why are these blenders so crazy? Okay, we're just gonna have to delete, I guess. It's my first time trying to use Kyle Webster's blenders. Man. Okay, so let's just soft eraser. And let's see, soft brush. I just want to blend away this edge down here. There we go. Okay, catch up on the chat. I think the machine gun should be more charcoal black. Okay. Um, I might darken it, but it won't be black. Windows updates may have done something, probably. Oh, I don't. Yeah, I don't really consider that brush a cheat. I mean, I just was joking. That's awesome what you did to the back legs. Thank you. Mix or brush instead of see. I don't even know. This is how much mixing I do in Photoshop. Um, Mix or brush. Okay. Let's see if this is not awful. Okay, yeah, that's better. It's still like it's not really what I want. I don't want new stuff introduced, but anyway. All right, let's darken this guy a little bit in the back. Yeah, everything is acting funny right now. Like changing brush sizes, doing weird things. I'm just not happy with Photoshop at the moment. Okay, so I think we're getting close. Maybe. This is just, yeah, this brush is doing weird stuff. This is overlay mode, adding a little bit of red to this. It's like super subtle, but I think I might, let's see, I want to do a glow over here behind the moon, but I don't want to overblow him either. Alright, somebody's trying to bail me out here on my mixer tool. Let's see. Load? Is that what we're probably not want to do? Let's see. I should label some layers. What do you guys think? Let's see. What is this? I don't see anything on this layer. Let's delete it. What is this? This is fog. Bright highlights. This is overlay. Some mask. Let's lock all this stuff down. I usually lock all these layers down early, but I didn't think about it. So I don't accidentally paint on them. And oh yeah, we're gonna do something with the mixer brush here. Okay, yeah, that's kind of sort of what I was looking for. Okay, let's see. I was gonna maybe do a glowy thing. It's pretty subtle. I keep checking. I keep checking this. Actually, the stream software on my other monitor's got a smaller version of it, so I can see if it still works. Darken the gun up a little bit. I wish my coworkers could see this guy work so hard to complete this. I keep getting asked to draw this and that, like I have limitless time. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when I'm close to finishing something, I will just like start playing around with random like um, adjustments, and I'm thinking about it at that point where I just want to goof around some and see if there's anything that I could do that would make it look cooler. Um, Yeah, and in case you missed at the beginning, I don't really intend on changing any of his colors that aren't already changed. So I think it's funnier that they're all the same color. So that's what I'm doing there. Okay, just for the fun of it, let's see. So what I did there was a very subtle effect that you can barely see, but it desaturated everything except pretty much his upper body. What was that? Oh, noise. Someone's following me on Twitch, I think is what that means. Do you guys hear that noise, or is it just me? Well, you guys heard it because it came through my mic that time, but I think it kind of killed the background colors a little bit too much. I'm gonna paint that out here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think this is pretty close to being done. There's really no good place for a lens flare. I was really hoping we could put a lens flare in here somewhere. I guess I could do a little bit of reflected light in the shadows. That would look cool. Very, very, very subtle. And not very much of it. I'll probably even turn this down a little bit once I'm done with it. Yeah, it's at 9%. 9% opacity, so not very much. Okay. Let's see. Gotta punch it up. 90s insane colors. I learned something interesting the other day. I was watching this guy. I can't even say his name. I'm not even gonna try. Um, he has a Photoshop channel but it's like for picture editing, but it's Photoshop, and you can take a picture that has like a really strong, um, like for example, I just thought this was neat. So let's just say that I wanted to make this whole thing like let's do something else. Let's say I make this whole thing this crazy gradient map color, orange and purples or something. Okay, like that. This isn't perfect, but that's not the point. Okay, and you can make a new. This is like super crazy to me, but you can make a new curves adjustment, and then you select this little eyedropper that's in the middle that says sample image set to gray point, and you pick like the grayest thing, and it automatically, there's nothing really gray on here, but it automatically color adjusts based on that. It automatically adjusts all of your RGB curves independently to make that, to try to make it even the colors out, basically. See, like if I select the moon, you get a totally different effect than if I select the rock or the yellow in that. Like, you get some pretty crazy effects this way. It's pretty neat. But it basically tries to color correct it for you back to like regular colors instead of being washed in like a color. hold on. Let's see. How can I fix this? I accidentally painted over his signature. So it's that layer. Okay, so I just have to deselect everything else. There's got to be a faster way to do that, but I don't know what it is. So we just selected those lines and delete. Yay. I'm just trying to get my signature to match his. At least somewhat. There we go. Alright guys, what do you think? Anything obvious that I've missed that was stupid or anything? You guys are still writing like fan fiction. Let's see. I could do like a very subtle glow. Why isn't that working? It's too subtle. Oh, because the opacity's so low. Okay, yeah. I'm just putting like very subtle glows over the top, like it's reflecting a little bit. Oh, I know what we could do. We could put a texture over all of the leather and see what it looks like. I'm normally like not a huge fan of textures all over the place, but I mean it's leather, so you know. Okay, yeah, you can see that in there. It's dirtying them up some. So if I want to just select him, and then with the layer selected, hit the mask button, and it only covers him. Let's probably a little strong. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. It's very, very subtle. And I'm going to paint it out of these brightest spots because you wouldn't actually see it reflected quite as much in those places. I'm digging it. I'm not doing smoke out of the gun. It'll blend with the smoke and or the fog in the background, and it'll lose its power anyway. Yeah, it does kind of look like his tongue is sticking out. I don't really think that let me see. I can put in a little bit of bounce light on this side of this gun here. It's pretty subtle. You guys that have my courses know, like, subtle is like my favorite word, I think, when it comes to a lot of stuff that's easily overdone in comics, like textures and reflected light and whatnot. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just call it here, and we'll see. You know what? Do we do? No, I don't want to do a rim light. I think I've overdone all I can do on this light. I thought about doing a rim light on him, but I think it's good enough. And yes, the lighting makes no sense at all because the moon's behind him, but I'm fine with that. Yeah, the ground is maybe a little bit too gray, but I don't really know. I don't want to do a ton with it because I don't want it to be in the same. Yeah, just I don't want it to be in the same brown that he is. And just about anything else seems to draw attention. So yeah, I put a little bit of green in it instead. I think it works well enough. There shouldn't be a lot of contrast down there anyway. So yeah. How long have we been going? Hour 45. Yeah, that's long enough. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. If you're on Twitch, you can follow me. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe. I try to put a video out every week-ish, week or two normally. Mostly coloring tutorials, but I've started sort of dabbling in digital painting in general too. So yeah, be sure to check that out. And I've been trying to get into the Facebook group. How long have you been pending? I just checked it not too long ago, I thought. Let's see. One person wants to join. Let's see. All right, bye, Tim. I'm not leaving yet. I'm trying to. Let's see. You want to tackle me? You have issues. It sounds like you have issues. So yeah, glad you guys came. So so this is, for those of you that are just trickling in, this is the pouch. Rob Liefeld sketched him up the other day as a joke, and people are drawing him. Column 888. There is one person pending on the Facebook group, and when I search for that email, I don't show any orders with that email. So I don't know if it's possible to use a different email address. But yeah, this is a kind of a joke character called the Pouch, based on, Rob Liefeld's love of pouches in the 90s. So it's drawn by Donal Delay of Death of Love fame. Okay, that you don't. Let's see. Will you email me that other email? Because the one you sent me is, I'm not showing any orders for that one. Just, you can, info at comiccolor.com if you want to email me. And I'll get you into the group. Cool. All right, last call for questions. Going once. My camera keeps going in and out of focus. I think the light's terrible in here. I've got like the brightness like cranked up on the camera because I don't have any lights on hardly. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.